Hi, this is Nick. Welcome to ISG, where we talk all things real estate in the Czech Republic. Today we're going to continue our series on trying to start a property portfolio for just 5,000 euros or 120,000 Czech crowns. So we've now got our property and we've got our mortgage sorted, so hopefully we're purchasing that property now and we haven't paid any fees to the bank, we haven't paid any further fees to the agency or for legal fees, that it was all included, and we've just spent 100,000 crowns and we've even got 50,000 crowns to pay for repairs. In the worst case, we don't have that money to pay for the repairs. At least we've still got some of our budget, around 20,000, that could do some touching up of the property. Maybe could cover this with something, or maybe we could do a little bit of painting or something like that, or just some minor repairs. It's always good to have a little bit of money aside for this. Now, the next thing we're going to need to do, obviously, is once you own it, is to start to rent it. And the rental situation here in these areas can be quite difficult because we're definitely at the very, very bottom, the lowest end of the market. We're going to have a lot of people who are regularly unemployed. We're going to have people who don't really want to pay the rent but want a property to go into. So we definitely have issues with no rent payments and things like that. So one of the main things we can look at to avoid that is to try and get in touch with the social office to offer it for social housing. Now, the great thing about this is if someone destroys this apartment, they're not really going to devalue it too much. I mean, the kitchen there is probably worth like 20,000 crowns. The bathroom is again pretty minimal, so we're not too worried about people causing damage. We're very much into getting an income for the next few years, which is steady. So I think finding a social housing tenant could be quite good. Alternatively, if you can lean on the agent that you've purchased it from, we could definitely try to find a decent tenant. Going through offering it for a decent price and trying to find someone who would stay there and look after it. This could be an older person. This could with someone who's got like a pension income or something like that. But definitely my preference would be a social housing tenant with the rent paid directly from the social office. So that's really what we need. We need to make sure that if we are paying an agent, that we don't pay them their too high fees. But at the same time, working in this region, if you're just paying like a 1 month rental fee, that's not very much for the agent to get, so they're not necessarily going to care about it. So it's about finding the right balance, which again, why it's nice to have a few thousand crowns left over from the purchase in order to work with and to find a decent tenant for that place. So hopefully what we're going to do is we're going to find our tenant and we are going to set them up there, and I would expect a rent here of around 4 or 5,000 crowns a month. Let's say a net of 4,000 once we've paid our fees to the house, which should be quite low for one of these panel buildings. It's very important that if you do have a tenant, a private tenant, that all the bills that you can transfer into their name are transferred into their name. You don't want any bills hanging around you, so you really just want all the liability transferred to them to really minimize your amount of liability. Thanks for watching this part. There'll be the final part coming up soon. See you then.